Welcome. My name's Namish. I'm the CEO and the founder of Satchel. And today, I want to my webinar today is about supporting self-management in the classroom. And so we're really going to talk about some practical tactics counselors can share with teachers. So, what is self-management? To summarize, self-management is really the ability to regulate our emotions, control impulses, manage stress, set goals, and persist through challenges. When we think about in the classroom, we really see self-management shown up in many different areas. But a few examples are things like following directions without reminders, starting and finishing work independently, handling frustration and disappointment appropriately, and staying organized and on track. So these are just some examples, but the key thing here is these are teachable. So these are teachable skills, and we can really help teachers build them into everyday routines. So today I'll go through some examples. Why is it challenging in middle schools? So, middle school students are still developing their executive functioning skills. Their brains are wired for risk-taking, peer approval, and of course, it's just that time uh, of their development where they really do have several emotions that are quite intense. We can, as teachers, sometimes see this as laziness or disrespect, but it's really a sign that these students need help building coping skills, routines, and self-discipline. Quite often, we may think of these things as a given, but actually, not all students have the opportunity to have learned these skills. And it's something that if we can really pay close attention to, as students get older, it can really pay dividends in terms of their own successes outside of academics, but of course, academically, it's going to benefit them. So let's take a look at tactic one. So this is really all around visual routines and reminders. We know that consistency leads to outstanding outcomes. Whether that's elementary, middle, or high school, students really need consistency and routines. And it's clear that middle schoolers, they thrive on structure. So even if they don't admit it, being able to help teachers establish and visually post daily routines, classroom expectations, and time cues can be really, really helpful. So, what's the benefit from a teacher perspective? It reduces nagging, right? It reduces nagging. It helps build independence, and it helps us to normalize executive skill building. Some examples you can use: checklists. As soon as students enter the classroom, get the notebook out, sit, start, bell work. Timers are brilliant. There's a number of free online stopwatches, timers that you can put on the whiteboard, and they're just very, very easy to use and very visual. And they're great for transitioning from group work to independent work to different activities that you may have within the classroom. We've also got visuals of self-regulation strategies. So activities like breathing, counting to 10, being crystal clear about how students can ask for help. Again, if we can crystallize what these routines are, then and students are clear about them, and we have the discipline to follow them ourselves, then you do get good results. Okay, tactic two, stop, breathe, decide. So this is really a quick strategy for helping students interrupt impulsive behavior. Example, before reacting, the teacher can cues the student. So stop, pause your body and mouth, breathe, take 3 deep breaths, and then decide what's the best way to respond. So, a quick tip, if you can create a poster or a small card version, it's really useful to be able to reference this, to point to it within the room. And so it's accessible for students and front of mind. And again, why does it work? Well, it really helps rewire the pause into the brain, and it gives students agency in their behavior. So tactic 3, goal setting with a growth focus. If we can help teachers to use short-term personal goals with students, um, academic, behavior, emotional, these are this can be really, really beneficial in terms of building that growth mindset. So examples, right? My goal today is to raise my hand 3 times. Start simple, start small. I will stay in my seat during group time. I will write down my assignments before I leave class. And so again, what this really does is it encourages ownership. It helps for quick wins and reinforcement. I think that's a key thing. It goes back to something I said earlier about consistency. We have to create opportunities where we can reinforce the habits that we want students to adopt. So yeah, and of course it helps to teach how to reflect and revise. So after this webinar, what we'll do is we'll share a handout that has some good examples focusing on this specific tactic. And so yeah, we'll absolutely share it with everyone that's attended today. So tactic 4, emotional regulation breaks. So what does this mean? So these are really strategies for emotional regulation. Not every outburst is a discipline issue. In fact, often they are a regulation failure. And so we need to really help teachers to offer quick, structured, emotional reset opportunities where it doesn't become binary. You're giving students opportunities to have a jail-free card and teach them how to manage those situations. So simple strategies, these include brain break cards, calm down corners, um, and some of this may not work well with high school kids. Sometimes it may not work with elementary school kids, and actually even within middle schools, um, some of these things may not work in every class. You will have a sense of what works and what doesn't, and it's about having these tactics within your toolkit, and so you can adapt accordingly and be able to try different things when required. So there's lots of benefits of teaching consistently how to regulate emotions. It helps with coping, it helps prevent escalation, and it supports a faster return to learning. An example of like teacher language could be, looks like you're overloaded. Would you like to take 2 minutes to reset and we can try this again? And so that does also require teachers to be self-aware, and have that awareness when you're in that situation, that we don't do things to escalate that situation, because escalation isn't going to help. We have to learn to de-escalate. And so for even the most experienced of teachers, this could be challenging at times unless you practice this. Okay, tactic 5. So, how do we provide positive accountability partners? So this is really all about building student self-management by pairing students so they can support each other with their goals. This works remarkably well. And so it's a great opportunity for the students to connect with each other. They can build peer connections. And so it's really interesting that when you do this consistently, the compounding impact it has with the students. So again, there's many different ways you can do this, but daily check-in examples, two students asking each other, how are you feeling? What's your goal today? Reminding each other about classroom expectations, highlighting the positive within each other. These are really, really important things that we can do with very little resources. We just have to be intentional about doing them. It's also really, really important for let me rephrase this. We know teachers care deeply about students, right? We know teachers want to see our students grow and develop. We also know that teachers today, they're time poor, right? There's lots and lots of challenges every single day. And I think as counselors, this is where if we really want to make a big, meaningful impact across the school, then we know that as counselors, there's only so much we can do. So what we really need to do is empower our teachers to make it easy for them to adopt and make it easy to practice these tactics. And so, we don't need teachers to do all of these things all at once. Sometimes that's sometimes the Achilles heel, when we ask too much of teachers too quickly. And so it really depends where you are on your school journey. And again, there are different tactics at different grade levels for you to think about. It doesn't make sense necessarily to adopt one tactic and ask all the teachers across all the grade levels to adopt them. It may not work. In fact, it's very unlikely it will work. So think of it as like, sharing one tactic at a time. Make it easy, provide the visuals, provide the plugin and the resources, the PDFs, whatever it is. Take the effort to actually ensure that teachers have these resources to hand. If we're thinking about classroom posters, walk around the school, make sure these are actually displayed. If some are fallen off, do a periodic walk. And again, this takes time also from a counselor perspective, where you are also time poor, but this is really about putting in place the tactics that can have a bigger impact across the school, which can significantly reduce caseloads and issues that we're seeing across the school, because we've got more consistency and messaging from teachers that understand how to de-escalate and develop these self-management skills. You can also co-teach and model if required, so make yourself available and follow up with encouragement and feedback, just as we have to provide reinforcement and encouragement to our students. Our staffing body and teachers is just the same. And so, yeah, even small changes can make a really, really big difference in student behavior when we do it consistently. And so, yeah, it's a short webinar today. Hopefully some of the tactics that I've shared today are helpful and practical. As I said, we'll follow up with a PDF download, which you can share. So please feel free to utilize those free resources. And if you do have questions, please reach out. Please contact us. As I said, my name's Namish. I'm the founder and CEO of Satchel Pulse, and we have a very established preventative mental health platform. Our software and services are used across 40 states, across small school districts, large school districts, urban school districts, rural school districts, and yeah, we're happy to have a conversation and see if we can be helpful, even if it's just to learn about how other school districts are adopting and implementing systems of care within their school district. We're happy to share their lessons and case studies and network of people that we've got to work with over the last 10 years or so. So thank you so much for listening. And I will be back again this time next week, where we'll be continuing this thread about sharing tactics from a counselor perspective to support and empower our classroom teachers. So thank you very much.